Hey there guys, how's it going? It is part 2 or the second video on the Conscious Talks course. It's not a course, but it's, Conscious Talks collection. So what am I going to talk about today? I don't know, but this is the good thing about consciousness. It's infinitely intelligent. It's infinitely okay. I'm not it's weird. I feel like I'm awake, but I don't feel like I've reached God yet. So I'm not fully awake in that sense. But yeah, I know that it's on the way. But anyway, basically, welcome to the second talk. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but the thing about consciousness is it gets you to a point where you don't have to know what to say. You become comfortable with not knowing. As Eckhart Tolle says, become comfortable with not knowing. And it's crucial for answers to come. So that's what I do whenever I shoot these videos and I don't have a topic. You just start talking, you just get the ball rolling, and shit just starts to come out of nowhere. So yeah, let's get into it. 1 minute down, we got 29 to go. I want to make this go for half an hour. So I'm going to try and make this really fun. Actually, I might actually do this video on, tell you a little bit of a story, because storytelling is an important part of public speaking. It helps retention by like 22 times percent, like times 22%. No, sorry, by 22 times, and it gets you to get to know me a little bit better, and you might vibe with me, you might see why I'm doing this, and you might get a liking to me, which would be awesome, because I do want to have a personal brand. I do want to kind of, I don't want more success than necessary. I don't really want fame. I don't really want all these things that can bring so basically, it's tricky, bro. Luxury brings toxicity. Too much luxury brings toxicity. This is a paraphrase of a quote by Leo Gura on actualize.org, probably the most conscious person of our time. But he's not even known. He's just because he keeps quiet, because he just lives a humble life. But highly recommend checking out him. It's one of the best resources I can give you. If I can't give you knowledge, if I can't give you the best things, he can. So I'll point you in that direction. And but he's saying that sex, fame, power, money, status pursued in their own right is toxic and corrupted, and it's not ideal, because it messes with your soul. So ultimately the soul is perfect, but it messes with your mind, which messes with your body, so it messes with your life. And you can see this in a lot of famous people. A lot of famous people commit suicide. A lot of famous people are not happy. I know one famous person who has actually enjoyed being famous. Some of them do, some of them don't. But when it comes to Jerry Seinfeld, he loves being famous. He saw it on one of his things. But if I tell you a story about me, I won't go into it too much. I'll leave certain things out. But basically, one day I was just walking, and I basically something hit me. I don't know what it was. It was definitely an awakening, but I didn't know what the fuck that was at the time. So it was what the fuck is this? But I'm just walking, and in an instant, it just hit me. This flooding of self-respect out of my body. That's the only words I can use to put on it. My self-respect. It felt like my self-respect flooded out of my body, and I'm like, what the fuck? I start panicking inwardly and running around and going, okay, I gotta get this back. What the fuck was that? And then I had a psychologist or therapist appointment lined up right then and there. Because so what happened before is I was worrying about being with the cool kids. I'm like, how am I going to get with the cool kids? How am I going to I was just in thought, right? And then basically I woke up. I started seeing my thoughts, but I didn't really understand that at the time. Anyway. And then I saw this psychologist, and I could tell that almost what she was thinking. I felt her energy. It was so strong. I could see how people were perceiving me and how I was perceiving myself. And I was like, what the fuck is this? but I didn't know what to say or how to like work around it or work with it. So I was just like, I don't know what happened. This thing happened. And she's like, okay, let's go for a walk. We went for a walk and we were talking. I just remember looking down, being like, what the fuck has happened to me? Like, what the fuck is this? Is this gonna heal or what? Like, what the fuck was this? Super confused. Yeah, and then mum picks me up. She drives all the way up to the uni, because I was at university studying psychology. And I'm really not, I came straight from school, and straight from school I was not a studier. I did not know how to study effectively. I did not know how to socialize. I did not know anything. And then it all kind of unfolded on this journey from then on out. It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me, and it still is. So what happened is, basically I got picked up by my mum. I'm looking out the window going, like, I'm just silent. Mum's driving. I'm just looking out the window going like, what the fuck is this? Like, am I going to be okay? And then, oh God, how did this happen? I started, I went to my dad's at some stage, and I started getting all these beliefs and stuff. And then I was watching YouTube, and I came across this bald-headed guy on YouTube. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I watched it, and he was talking about personal development. And I'm like, personal development? Is that not the most fucking amazing idea ever? Personal development, that's fucking... Why had I not heard of this before? I did not know shit. And then I watched another one of his videos, Enlightenment, the Truth That No One Told You was the title of the video. I watched it and I was just hooked. I'm like, enlightenment, this is the shit. Because as a kid, I identified as a Buddhist. I had, at times, I kind of like dropped off, but I always loved the Buddha. Ever since I was a kid, as young as I can remember, I always loved the Buddha. I had a Buddha shrine. I collected Buddhas. I had a Buddhist sticker that I'd stick on my window and look at like every day. And yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I'm all on board with this enlightenment. I didn't even know it was a real thing. Like, I didn't know you could do this. And he talked about the truth of no self, and I started like connecting. I'm like, yep, this is what I fucking want. So I started chasing that shit like crazy. I started meditating. I started doing personal development. I started reading a book a week. I was just getting all into it. I tried to be healthy, exercise. Anyway, I ended up getting a job at QPAC, Queensland Performing Arts Centre, as a staging technician. And then I started like listening to people and being open-minded and learning from them like crazy. And it was satisfying, but I was very anxious. I was very self-conscious. I was just a little bit of everything, bro. I wasn't doing that good, but then I started developing these delusions, which I thought were truths at the time, hence delusion. All kinds of delusions on, what's it called when you, hypochondriac, where you like think you've got something. You think like, I've got this, I've got this. Anyway, I started watching Leo, getting into personal development. I ran into like Ty Lopez, started watching business stuff. I started getting ambitious and wanting this shit. And then it kind of like dropped off a little bit, and then I became super delusional. And then I basically got put in hospital. I was so unwell. I was put in hospital, and I was like, fuck. I met some people in hospital. I met some cool people. I'm like, sorry, that's not right. I went into hospital and I was just doing my thing, but I was getting all these awakenings. Like, I have insights into things that I just understand now that I didn't understand then. And I was doing things that were fucking crazy because I was fucking unwell. But what I didn't realize is I was purging shit. All this shit was coming in and out. And so yeah, and then I got out of hospital and I was still really fucking unwell. I went back in hospital and I met this guy who I won't give a name to. Let's call him Bob Jones. So yeah, Bob Jones. I met Bob Jones and I was like, this guy is cool. Like, he came up to me and he's like, oh, can you show me where the pool room is? And he was walking with such purpose, and he had this awesome jacket on. I remember he had this awesome jacket with like orange shoulder pads kind of thing. And he's like walking, and I'm like, this guy's cool as fuck. And he was like walking, and then he went into the pool room, and I'm like, bro, are you enlightened? And he's like, definitely. And I'm like, oh my god, no, sorry, that was someone else. That said definitely. I asked if he was enlightened, and he said, very. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm like, fuck yeah. And he's like, be smart and be humble. And I'm like, exercise and eat healthy. He's like, exactly. Like, he was moving so fast, and he's like moving around, and he's like taking notes on the board in the pool room at the hospital. And he was like, it was crazy. Oh man, he was so motivated and so moving, and he was like starting businesses and shit. Like, he was doing all this stuff. He was in hospital, and I'm like, somehow I got to the conversation of what he had, and he's like, he thought he had schizophrenia and autism and ADHD and all this kind of shit, social anxiety. So he was like self-diagnosing, but he was so intelligent. Like, he changed my mind. He completely changed me. That day, I never went back. He changed me for good. And I'm literally like he made me so motivated. I'm like, bro, and I wanted just the best life for myself. And then I'm like taking notes. Like, I start journaling. He shows me his book, and he's like flicking through it, like he's trying to teach me. Like, he was my first spiritual teacher. Actually, there was a spiritual teacher before him when I was at hospital. There's this lady who wanted to drop me home, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, because it's a stranger. And she's like, okay. She just handed it. I'm like, okay. What? And then I talked to my mum about it, and she's like, yeah, hell yeah, get a lift. It's like an hour and a half drive. So, you know, taking the bus is like 2 hours, 3 hours, 2.5 hours. And then she's like, I think I'm enlightened. So we're talking about enlightenment, because that's like all I talk about. And then she's like, I'm like, what? And then I got my notes on one of Leo's videos of like traits of an enlightened person. I'm reading them down. She's like, yep, that's me. And I'm like, that's mad. I'm like, oh fuck. And I just wanted to be enlightened so bad. Anyway, so back to Bob Jones. Bob Jones in hospital. Like, every day I was waking up, I had like blisters on my feet because I was like walking around, like pacing, like fucking, not pacing, walking around, like talking to people, getting shit done. Even though I was in hospital, I was free, you know, like I wasn't free, but I was in a way. Like, you start, there's always something to do. Like, he was taking notes on the fucking horse racing, and he was listening to certain music, he was reading, like, he's taking crazy action. He was like inviting his friends in and shit. I remember seeing his friends, and I'm like, oh, it's an honor to meet you guys, because I thought they were all like him, and they are, but they're not. Anyway, and then I'd run into like friends of his at hospital. I'm like, oh, you seen Chris Clark? I'm like, yeah, he's a G. And then I would like look up to them and like ask them questions, and this is where I really got into knowledge and action and personal development. So you know how it said it kind of died off before, like my personal development action? What happened is it's rekindled, and then it never went away. He lit a fire within me that is not left to this day. And then basically, I got better. Somehow. I just forgot about all my delusions because I became super focused, and I was just focusing on success, you know, in every aspect of my life. I was focusing. And I messaged him, I'm like, bro, if you're like enlightened and all this, why are you chasing business? And he's like, because it's fun. And I'm like, oh shit, like that's so good. He recontextualized everything he wanted to do in the positive, and he believed in himself, and he fucking pursued it. He was doing like a clothing brand thing, and he was like making like icons to go on t-shirts, and one of them was Dolphinana, which is like a banana that turns into a dolphin at the head. Anyway, he was really cool, and I love him, and he completely changed my life. And I appreciate that, and I'll always appreciate that. So, yeah. And, and then I got better, and then I started going on certain medications. I'd been on and off different medications. Nothing was working. And, anyway. My family probably wouldn't be too impressed if they saw this video, because I don't... And I was in a treatment order, which I got off because I said that I didn't know, or it's possible that the medication did help me. So they got me off the order because they know that's like a sane sign. of getting better is to acknowledge that the medication actually did work. Because it was around the same time that I got better, but I got better before I was on the medication. I got better with Chris Clark. I said his name, fuck. Okay, I might edit that out. Shit. I didn't say anything. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Anyway, but basically, he changed me, and then I started focusing on what I want instead of fearing what I didn't want, because it was all down to fear. I was fearing all these things happening and fearing these truths that weren't actually truths. So, let's turn around. It's been 15 minutes. So he changed me, and then I went on this medication, and I was getting better and better and better. It could have contributed, but when you're spiritual, you kind of realize that it's all inner work. So like medication can help with certain things, that's for sure. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying I don't think it did as much as they think it did. I think I got better by Bob Jones. I think Bob Jones helps me more than anything. Anyway, after that, I went into a place called CCU, Community Care Unit. And that's a transitional housing place between hospital, when you're living in hospital when you're unwell, the mental health wings, and home. So I went there, and then I was doing pretty good. And then I was a little bit depressed because I got hit with this. I get in these afternoon states sometimes. I haven't purged this yet, but it will happen soon enough. It'll happen, I'm just not sure when. But I had this thought, I got an afternoon state, I wasn't feeling good. And then, so periodically in the afternoons on some days, about twice a week or once a week, I get hit with this afternoon state and I don't feel good. I'm getting better at dealing with it, but I wanted to remove it. Because there's kind of like two things to healing. There's managing it, and then there's removing it. So there's like living with it and learning how to live with it and be okay with it. And then there's removing it entirely. So that's why you want to get with all your negative shit. Anyway, and you will with meditation, because that's what it does. But basically, I went into hospital, I was in the afternoon state, and I sat down next to the TV and I saw this guy sitting there, who's now my best mate, Nathan. We've been friends for like 7 years. And what happened is, because I was very, very sensitive energetically, like the way he was moving his body, I was just like, this guy's a fucking G. Like, he wasn't like, I saw the difference because I was on the phone to my mom after the afternoon state, and she was being a bit difficult in my perception, and I was like down about that. And then I noticed that he wasn't treating me like that. Like, he was treating me different. Like, the way he was just functioning was on another level. And you can just tell when you get spiritual, you're able to tell these things. You're able to detect things that other people aren't, because you're awake. You're not dreaming of shit, you're awake. That's the ultimate goal of the spiritual journey, is to reach enlightenment. Light. Be light. And light is good, and good comes from consciousness, and consciousness is present, and present is awake. Enlightenment, or awakening, it's called awakening. Spiritual awakening is your awakening out of the dream of thought. Anyway, and then what happened is I started talking to him. We started bonding like crazy, because the thing is, opposites attract. Like, his energy and my energy were complete opposites. I was more fire, he was more ice. So he was more cool, I was more hot. And we just but we had like interests in, he started talking about spirituality and stuff. I'm like, no way, this is mad. He was talking about TVs and how they're television, tell your vision, and the remote to the channels. And so he was saying this shit, and I was like vibing with it like crazy. And then we started like bonding, and we started like joking and connecting and shit. Anyway, we were just like joking and shit, laughing like crazy. And then he became my best friends, and ever since then we've been best friends. But and then, alright, I got 10 minutes to wrap this up. Fuck, this might not be a conscious talk. I might make this my story. I'll make this my story. Let's do this. And then, so, what happened is I got in my own, at CCU, I changed places at CCU. Sorry, I just got this like negative thought, and it can like pull you out. One thought can change your body. One body can change the world, bro. Like, thoughts are fucking tricky, bro. Like, when they're negative, bro, they can pull you. They can fuck you up. Like, I'm just being affected by this single thought that I had. But anyway, it's all good. I'll survive. But you just got to keep pushing, because this is part of like Dark Night of the Soul. You go through shit. It can be it can be a day. A Dark Night of the Soul can go for a day. But it's usually like a mood. It's usually like a long-term thing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, I ended up moving out back into my mom's. I caught up with Nathan like every day, and we started getting into business. We started meditating. We started going like crazy. I started my Nisargadatta Maharaj challenge. Yeah, and then we would like hang out a lot. Anyway, so what happened after that is, sorry, this negative thought has fucked me over. But just know that even like Eckhart Tolle, even Leo Gura, even Owen Cook, even like the most enlightened people, they take steps backwards sometimes. Not on the outside, like, yeah, obviously on the outside, like, things are challenging, but on the level of the spirit, on the level of the minds, like, you do still get negative thoughts sometimes. You just know how to deal with them better. Anyway, let's finish the story up. Moved out into my mum's, moved out from my mum's, I was having heaps of awakenings and all kinds of shit. And then so I moved out into my dad's for a bit because mum wanted me out, because, long story, family stuff. It wasn't that bad, but like, it was just time for me to move out. Moved to my dad's, moved into my own place with a couple other guys. Then I didn't know, just like randoms. And then there was a guy there who was super negative and affected me in my sleep. Watch the conscious sleeping course if you want to avoid that. And then basically just don't sleep next to them, because it affects your energy while you sleep. And then keen for a mad medi after this. Medi's just short for meditation. That's what me and my mate call it, medis. Yeah, so and then I moved out into another place, which was good, and then these other people moved in as well, and they were even more negative. So I moved out again, and now I've found a place that's perfect. The two guys I'm with, I won't say their names, but yeah, they're fucking like amazing people. They do get high every now and then. You know, that's probably why they're so chilled. I mean, but you can still smoke weed and be negative, obviously, but it's just a state of consciousness. But they're perfect. They're good enough. Good enough is perfect with people, and super grateful to be in the house I'm in at the moment. It's not even that expensive to rent. Like, it's great. Anyway, so now I've started getting my business up. I've started my community. I'm starting to shoot courses and videos. I'm also writing an ebook. I'm officially a meditation coach. I'm just kind of like acting as if, and like identifying as what you want to be. So I haven't coached anyone yet, but I just want to get practice. So I'm just gonna make my first session free. Like, for everyone's first session is free for half an hour, and I just want to get practice, get good with that, and then start advertising, start marketing, get people in the community so that we can start raising the collective consciousness even faster, because we're going to have like people connected. If they're like in your city, like, you can hang out with them and shit. Like, this is the point of the conscious community that I created, is to hang out, have fun, and yeah. But yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much my story. It's an interesting one, but it's just, these days I'm doing so fucking good. Like, I'm meditating like constantly. Well, what I mean by meditation is the I am presence, which is basically like a walking meditation. It's just a being meditation. It's what you live from, you know. Yeah, it's what you live from. So it's like how Ramana Maharshi says, do not meditate, simply be. And Osho says, be, don't try to become. And, you know, less is more, and so it's just about it's just about being present. Like, it's so fucking stupidly simple, but it just gets better and better, because what happens is the light of your consciousness shines on everything, and it heals everything. It heals you, it heals the world. And you start to understand you in the world, because you can only understand you in the world through consciousness, through no minds. Through mind, you can't understand mind or the world. I mean, you can, but only to the level of your consciousness. But yeah, you can't act higher than your level of consciousness. That also means you can't act lower than your level of consciousness. So that means that if you can't act higher than your level of consciousness, you fuck, I'm just going blank. This is the thing about meditation. Sometimes you go for presence so much that when you go to think, like you just blank out. But the thing is, it overpowers your mind. So that's probably just a habit that I've got. There's probably some unconscious thought I'm not quite ready of that distracts me from what I was thinking, but it actually does help your memory. Like, it works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways, but ultimately He knows what you want better than you know what you want, and you're here to fulfill a certain contract, and yeah, you're here to fulfill your dream. But don't judge people who haven't got big and ambitious dreams, because that's part of them, because they maybe they had a really ambitious life before, and in this life they got to be negative because they want to purge. Their soul needs to purge more. So everything's meant to be. Life gives you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. In other words, life gives you what you need. So it gives you whatever you need. So you may need non-success. You may need, whatever it is. Even if they're fucking homeless, they need that. Which is hard, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't try and help them. It's just difficult to help people when they don't want help. I just wish I could spread the word about meditation like crazy to everyone, because people don't understand what it is. Meditation isn't this thing that you just sit and do. Yeah, that's formal meditation, but I'm talking about what meditation and mindfulness. I'm talking about the I am presence. I'm talking about just living from meditation and just being present, looking around, and then naturally it raises. Naturally you get bumps, which means consciousness goes up. You've been elevated to a next level. And everything becomes beautiful, which brings peace, which brings intelligence, which brings clarity, which brings purpose, which creates vision, which makes your life just fucking, you're so grateful, you're beyond grateful, and then what happens one day is you wake up and you're pretty much God. No, you are God, no doubt. But if you are having doubts, I mean, I'm not fully there yet, but I've experienced God in a dream, of what it feels like. It was like my face, and I felt like I was falling up. This is what Shinzang Young says enlightenment feels like. You're falling, but you're falling up. And I've had that experience in a dream. I was falling up, and I was just smiling, and it was just getting happier and happier infinitely, and I couldn't smile anymore. But I was getting happier, so it's crazy. So yeah, no doubt about God, but if you are having doubts, pop them. Pop your doubts, pop your fears, bring it back to the present moment, and eventually you'll get to a point where you're so fucking just peaceful and happy, joyful, all the good things, that when negativity comes, you fucking smile, bro. Oh, did I don't think I brought my... Yeah, I did. There it is. Fuck. The key for the garage. Yeah, alright guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm always trying to add value, bro, because I just want to help you guys as much as I can, because I can see how it affected me. And if I was that unwell, if I was super fucking delusional, in hospital for like a year and a half to 2 years, like broken apart, 6 months and then like a year, and I healed from that, like, bro, like, what can't you do? RJ Spina talks about when you're with the I am presence, there's nothing you can't do. So let's fucking be in the I am presence, Let's get rid of these elites. Let's make the world a good place. Okay? Have a good one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Stay present.